Hello you guys, and welcome to Mr. and Mrs. Social Studies. My name is Sarah, and this week on the channel I want to talk a little bit about mental health and specifically how you can support your students and how you can contribute to their mental health within your classroom. Today I want to look at 5 specific strategies to help create a low-stress classroom. Now, of course, in teaching there are so many different approaches that each have many benefits, unfortunately some drawbacks, and I know that in general as teachers we're trying to do the best we can for our students. If you have a low stress classroom, critics could say that maybe you're not challenging your students enough, or maybe you're not really preparing them for the real world. I go back to, I want my classroom to be a low stress classroom because there are already so many battles students are facing, whether it's with their personal life, whether it's with just identity exploration, trying to figure themselves out. Plus, I know that it doesn't get easier. I do teach middle school, but high school becomes more stressful than middle school, and college is more stressful than high school, and sometimes the workforce can be a lot more stressful than those times, depending on what job someone ends up in. So I personally value making sure my students do not feel stressed in my class, or at least hopefully less often than maybe they felt in the past or in other classes. So there's 5 specific strategies I use to help with this. The first one and the most important one is to be the example. If a teacher is stressed out, I think the kids will likely experience it too. Just like if a parent is stressed out, their child might experience it. Do what you can to take care of yourself so you are in a really good and stable place. Another way is to give less homework. Homework is definitely a topic that's hotly debated. Personally, I almost never give homework like a fresh assignment that all students have to do at home and not having any time at school. 90% of the time, the homework that I give is just if students didn't finish something during the allotted class time. But my whole philosophy on homework is that while I do value what I teach, I don't believe that what I teach is necessarily more important than that child spending quality time with their family members or with their friends or getting a good night of sleep or whatever it is. I know that everyone chooses to spend their time differently, but I don't want a large chunk of my students' evenings to be spent doing this. I want them to have that healthy balance. A third strategy to have a low stress class is to have a healthy approach about grades and stress less about grades. While grades are important, I realize that grades are not necessarily an accurate measure of what a student's success will be in life. And so I'm not going to drill and hound students for missing work. I'm not going to be bringing it up all the time. To me, it's more than about the grades. And that's my own philosophy. But when you take some of the pressure off of grades, it makes things a lot easier. The 4th tip is to play relaxing music in class. If you search relaxation music on YouTube, you'll find lots of great examples, as well as things like soothing piano, soothing jazz. I really like playing these in the background because they're not too distracting. They're pretty mellow, but it can help create a more calm environment. Even though there might be other conversations happening, it's kind of like a nice background tone to have, and so it also prevents that awkward silence kind of a thing that personally doesn't feel comfortable in my classroom if it's like completely silent. So I really have been enjoying doing that this year, and it's not something I did in the past, but I'm really happy I'm doing it now. And then my last tip is to be flexible. I oftentimes get emails from students who are concerned about, a deadline or something they didn't get, or they left something at school and they can't finish it. Whatever it is, there's always different concerns. A lot of times they'll even say things like, I'm so sorry to disrupt you or disturb you, but I had this question. And I always tell them, look, number one, you're not disturbing me. I love helping you. I love you guys. You're awesome students. So there's that. And so I'm happy to help. But then the second part too with that is I will very happily extend deadlines if I need to. If students need more time on a project, I'm going to adapt it. I don't want to put that strain on the students. There are still deadlines that happen. There are deadlines that I don't change. There are definitely still cases where I am more strict about things, but as a whole, I am taking a more flexible approach, and I think in turn that hopefully helps the students feel less stressed out. So I hope this video was helpful in terms of wanting to make your classroom a little more zen. Of course, a lot of this depends on the grade level and subject you teach, but these strategies have worked for me in a middle school social studies classroom. We'll see you guys for the next video. Bye.